not been able to figure out how to go live at that link. So we are just going live here, and then we will just post this link shortly. Do you want to put your number in?
Okay. Oh, come on. Sorry. No.
Actually,
Is it not my number? No, it doesn't.
don't worry. Okay. I'm just going to post this link here, so you guys can just go directly there, because I've obviously somehow not worked this out properly.
I'm just going to put it in the Facebook group.
You should be getting a notification. Here we go. Alright. Close that. Guys. See, 2 people have joined us, which is good. Sorry guys, hold on. I'm just going to post this link.
Oh, you're doing it on Facebook? Cool.
Yeah. Alright, I see that people are joining in. Guys, we're really sorry we've set that up, and that link is permanent, the initial one, and we'll try and keep going live there. But it is quite technical, and for some reason decided not to work at the very last minute. So I'm sorry for all those people who missed out. But we'll keep an eye on comments right there. So if something comes in, we'll go there directly, and I hope that we keep on top of this.
It worked in the test run. I promise.
That's right. We'll just stick around for a few minutes for people to come in, and then we'll continue with everything. I'll keep an eye on comments here, so if people have questions or if they can't see, I'll
direct them over.
Yeah, direct them over.
Oh, hi, Owen. Oh, no, wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry, I'm looking at the old one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Maybe, so we'll just give it a few minutes and then...
Yeah. Hi, Owen. I'll just keep posting that link over and over, so you guys can just copy and paste that from there and come here. I've also posted it just on the comments below, so not just in chat, but on the comments below as well, so you can just click and go there. Good stuff. I will... We have this sorted out next time, probably.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see. Sure, I'm on mute here.
There's still 37 people still waiting on the other link, so we'll just wait a little bit longer.
Hey guys. Okay, cool. These guys can at least see us, which is a good thing. So I'll keep an eye in here to chat as well. And we'll get started in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You would really think we would be better. But, you know.
We will be one day. We'll be pros one day. Oh, it's me.
Yeah, just... About her GF experience.
Grand final.
Oh.
Who saw it?
Damon and Deadly.
Yes, I did. I attended the grand final. And it was great. It was so good. Proud West Coast Eagles supporter for everyone out there. From the West Coast, if you didn't know that already.
That's good. Let's see.
You don't care.
No.
I care.
Here we go. You can see all the comments here now.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, while we're waiting, I'll tell you about my grand final experience. It was my first grand final ever, and it was really great. I don't know, I drank some champagne before I left, which was nice. Then I walked to the MCG because I'm really close. I live in Richmond, and it was just so much fun. It was like a big party, and I wasn't actually going to have a couple drinks because I'm studying at the moment. But it was just such a celebration. It was so much fun, and everyone was like screaming, and I've still got a bit of a husky voice from yelling so much. I've never yelled so much in my life. But yeah, it definitely was an experience, and I highly recommend it, even if it's not your team. Apparently our sound is not too great, so I'm just going to turn, see if I can...
That should be okay. It's probably just the echo.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine.
Are they visible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, is everyone else having an issue with the volume as well, or just let us know in the comments. So it would be good for us, otherwise we can adjust it. All right, we'll get started on the important stuff. We'll just hit that straight away, and then we have a couple other things that we need to address, and then we'll stick around for questions. Good. I think Peter's not having an issue. Richard, it might be the volume issue at your end. So if you're looking, if you're watching it through your iPad or your phone, maybe just try. Oh, okay. The volume is pretty low, so we'll just try and speak louder, I guess.
And get closer.
All right. So get ready to see our faces pretty up close. I'll stay half in anyway. So sorry. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Keep an eye here. What I really want to talk about is the article that we've shared in the email that I've sent to all of you guys. If you don't have it, I'll just post it in the chat here so you guys can have that as well. I'm posting it in the chat, but also posting it in the comments below, so you can actually click on the link without having to copy paste and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry, this is on our FAQ pages as well, so you can easily find this. It'd be good if you guys are sort of following this alongside. If not, you can obviously read it later. I've been working on these few things for, with the team, been working on this for past couple of months actually, just picking up points from here and there, our conversations, what people say, what we observe. Some of these are not direct. Some of these, the volume is pretty low. Okay. Let me see what we can do with the volume. No. What I might do. Let's see. Oh, seems fine. Right, guys, just get close up. Probably, I don't think we can. We can just make it a bit closer, but just tried it on our end. Seems okay, but it might be the iPad. And the most we can do is
just move it closer at the moment.
Okay, cool. Without any further ado, because it's already been 9 minutes, we don't want to keep you guys waiting. So these points, we've just been working on it for the past few months, and these are sometimes not direct and not very easy to sort of get, but just by analyzing our conversations and the transactions and all that, these are a lot of these things. So we do all these things, all the things that we can do from our side to sort of better the experience, but a lot of smaller things do depend on the artist side of things. So profiles, conversations, communication, the way your portfolio is set up, and all those kind of things. And a lot of these things you would already know, but there might be a few things that you might not. It's just sort of a summary of things. So I'll just go through the doc, the topic by topic, and then feel free to ask questions as we go, and we can pick up from there. So the first one is just the first impression. So a few basic things that we've talked about is just the first thing that people look at is your profile. Most of our clients and most of the people who don't know what they're looking for when they land on a website, they obviously start with searching and then they find an image, an artwork that they like, and then they go through your profile because they want to see who the artist is, and based on what they see in your profile can make and break those things. So just sort of see how your profile picture is, how your cover photo is, do you have a bio, and all these basic things. Try to keep it simple, keep it clean. I've put an example in there as well if you guys want to have a look. It's quite simple, neat and clean. The other thing is this is the most probably one of the important things is your actual artwork listing. So the photos, obviously, because we're online and that's all people get to see. I won't go into much detail here because I've put it in writing as well. But go through it with me, and if you have questions and something doesn't make sense or something that you don't agree with, please let us know with the comments, and then we can take it further, because there's no point going into detail for what I've already done. So just your photos, see that they're high resolution enough, they can zoom in and see the details and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that all sides are covered. So front, if you've painted your sides, show it, at least mention it if they're white or black or whatever color, mention it. If you're using in-situs of your artworks, that's really good, but make sure that they are proportional to the actual artwork size. So if you have an A4 sized photo, don't stretch it all the way across on the wall. It doesn't look nice. Plus, it just doesn't sit well. Descriptions are really important. What you're writing, not just about the artwork itself or the details of the artwork, but where did the idea come from? What's the story behind it? Even if it's just a couple of lines, it's important because people like to connect to what they are looking to buy. And the last, but not the least, is the accuracy of the information that you put in. So all the logistic side of things, size, weight, pricing, all those kind of things are really important. We've had people see things, even just sometimes. I've done this as well, but it's easy to do. Sometimes you put in the artwork width in the height section and the height in the width section, so it sort of gets switched. It affects the search because in the search you can select whether they're looking for portraits or landscapes, so be careful of that. The other thing is, if it is missed, and sometimes we've had people come in saying, oh, I like this, but the details, the photo and the actual dimensions don't match. But when we go back to them saying, oh, it was just a simple mistake, it just sort of breaks their confidence or just breaks the flow, and we do lose them like more than 50% of the time. They don't reply. So it's quite important to sort of keep everything just on point straight away. The other thing is, so with your portfolio, this is something, this is an example. Yeah, someone's birthday that we're missing in the office. I hope there's a date left at the end. This is something that we've noticed, and this is from my personal experience as well before, is when you have a portfolio and look at your Bluethumb profile as your portfolio. When you have a portfolio online, that's your resume, that's what people are looking at, and that's what represents you. So make sure that it's your best work so far. So just go through those points, put your best work up front so people can see it. If you have a new work, make sure that it's up at the top. If you have prints, if you do want to sell prints more than your originals, put them at the top. But usually we ask artists to put their originals on top and then prints at the bottom, because if someone wants to buy prints, they can search prints and they can get to that. In there, just make sure that your best work is up there. So if you have all the artworks, feel free to not have them or mark them sold or something like that. If you're not confident enough that this is still your style. Now from here, there are other things which are not just related to the technicalities of the websites or how you put in information. These are more personality and sort of like professionalism related things, and they can be quite sensitive. So there will be points where you don't agree. So please let us know, and so I can go into detail. The other thing before I talk about this is, I know that we are a business and we are an online platform and we have competitors, and but at no point are we just talking about that, do this for us, do this for us. This is not something that we are trying to promote ourselves for. This is something that can be applied to all the online art platforms that you sell through. So feel free, it's not just about us, it's about these points are here so that hopefully they're going to help you in selling more through other platforms. Like, we are not sort of trying to restrict you in any way. All right, so communication, it's quite important. We here in our sales team, which is Sarah, me, Tegan, Edward, our goal is to reply to every inquiry that's coming in related from the buyers related to an artwork. We reply to them within 3 minutes, and this includes, like, the average is calculated even including outside office hours. So many of you would have received texts or emails from us, Ed, me, Sarah, after hours. That's us, just putting the extra hours. But the point is that make sure that all the information that you have in your profile is recent. So if you have a mobile number, that's really handy for us, because we do sometimes text you. It's much easier to get, like, smaller details, whether it's framed, not framed, send us a photo and stuff like that. Emails is good, but sometimes if it's just faster. Text is much faster. So make sure it's all there. Just with emails and whatever mode of communication you prefer, just make sure that you're reachable. I mean, you obviously don't have to get back to us within 3 minutes. That's and we don't expect you to do that, but the quicker the better, so that it's we can close that inquiry while it's warm. The other thing is
yes, it's
yes,
live.
There might be a bit of a delay. So there's probably like a 10-second delay or something like that. So when you ask a question, it might take us a few seconds. The next thing is price uniformity. We've noticed this recently with a lot of artists on them, and when we talk to them, it sort of clears out. But I thought we'll talk about this here. A couple of points. So we know that every online platform, their system of pricing and artwork works differently. So I'll talk about us. Here, you put in a price, and then we calculate top to bottom. So you put in, say, for example, $1,000. We tell you how much our commission is, how much you'll receive, and we also add on shipping to the top. But the point is that wherever you are listing your artworks, make sure that the final display price is the same on all platforms for a particular artwork. Why that's important is I've just listed those 2 points, a couple of points down. It's important for the confidence of the buyer. So when someone sees an artwork on any particular platform, they wouldn't leave that platform just based on that price, because it comes down to such a sort of like the fairness of the game as well. Because we have competitors, at no point of time we would want to say, if someone landed at somewhere else, they should buy from us because it's lower. We're not trying to lure buyers or collectors based on giving them discounts. So that's why it's important, like, just in there. Also, like I've talked about branding, try to see it from you as a buyer point of view. When you're trying to buy a product, if the same product is on different sites with different pricing, it always puts a doubt in your head as to what, why is that, and what might be missing if you go with the cheaper one, or if you go with the expensive one, why there's a difference, and all those kind of things. So those doubts usually deter the conversion of that sale. So if I want to buy $1,000 piece, which, for example, on Bluethumb is for $1,000, and on a different site is for $900, and a different site is $800, I would ideally want to buy it for $800. But at the same time, I'm not sure why there's a $200 difference when it is an original piece of art coming from the same artist. Why is it listed differently? It just kills the confidence of the buyer, and it just creates confusion. So it is, and also is an industry standard and also is in our terms and conditions as well. But it's just a matter of how you represent yourself as a brand, as an artist, because once that happens with one artist, it sort of sticks in a collector's mind or a buyer's mind, and it will affect you in long term, for them, like for that buyer to be a repeat customer. So just sort of keep that in mind. We'll just, if we'll go through these points and the questions, then we can answer if they're sort of not directly related to what we're talking about. Okay, the other thing is relationship and trust. This is a sensitive one, and I'll try to tread carefully. We saw a post, I think last week or the week before that, on the Facebook group, and we realized that this was not, this was a point that we should raise. If something, it's sometimes important enough to understand that what the role of an online agent or an online art gallery is. We do put in quite a bit of work in terms of marketing, advertising, and a lot of other avenues in terms of communication, shipping, and all that kind of stuff. All the things that happen in the background that you don't see, we do put in, and not just us, all the online art platforms do put in a lot of work. So when something comes through them, that means their marketing, their strategizing, their strategies, their advertising has worked. So they have found a person who had never seen your work before through their advertising, marketing, or communications, through our marketing, has finally found you. But after all this, through this journey of that person, if they skip us, if they skip that particular online art platform and go directly with you because they get 10%, 20%, whatever, lower, then that's fine. I mean, the goal for us is for you to get your work out there, but at the same time, we are a business as well. So if that's skipped, two things happen. A, obviously, we get cut out, which is fine. For that one, it happened. But in the long term, how it really affects you is a couple of things. The platforms know that that's happened because the way we track our marketing, advertising, and communication, we get to see what's coming through, what's not coming through. So we get to know that that's happened. The other thing is, I'll just turn the chat off for a second. The other thing is, in long term, that sort of trust doesn't get built with the platform, and it might help you with this one particular sale, but then those things won't repeat. The other thing with the marketing side of things is, I think this in the video down below, it's mentioned this, that when a marketing strategy or an advertising strategy works, we only get to know that it's working when a sale comes out of it. So if a particular ad campaign or a particular marketing strategy has in turn actually landed you a customer who's come all the way from not knowing about your artwork to knowing about your artwork to finally getting in touch with you. And if they don't buy through the platform, ours or anyone else's, but buys directly with you, in our books, that marketing strategy or that ad campaign didn't work, which means we will not put any more effort, money into it again. That means that line of sourcing a buyer has now closed because we didn't know that strategy actually worked. We'll divert that. And in the video, Ed has mentioned this. How the advertising and marketing campaigns work is, at the same time, there will be hundreds of different campaigns that run at the same time. Now, they are judged and bid on based on their success and failure on different events. So we see which ads are being clicked on, which ads are being liked, which ads are being shared, which ads are actually getting us customers on the site, which ads, the customers coming through a particular ad, are they actually going to buy something, or are they just liking and staying on the website, or do they have the intention to buy it? all these different factors and many more factors sort of affect whether we put in more money and effort in a particular ad campaign or not. In the end, the final decision, the North Star as we like to call it, is if you're getting a sale or not, because that is the end conversion. And if that campaign worked throughout and didn't actually convert, then it still loses. Even after being a successful campaign, it still loses all the money, all the funds that goes in from us. Anyway, long story short, it has a ripple effect when this happens. Not just on us as a company, not just on you as a brand. It has an effect on the marketing. On the art buying behavior online. We've explained our marketing strategy, and where we start our marketing is not just people who are interested in art, but we do a very wide range, sort of like an open-ended marketing, where we actually instill this idea in people's minds that you can do this and sort of like slowly convert. So when these kind of things don't work and they don't convert, it affects it at the very top level. So it affects the whole behavior in itself. And like I said, it's also is about just being fair and just. And I know it's a pretty sensitive topic, and whenever it comes to this, a lot of artists, a lot of buyers, pretty much everyone has a different opinion, or at least one opinion about it. So we're open to discussions. We openly want to talk about it. But yeah, just wanted to point this fact that this is something that has a long-term effect. In the article itself, there's a quick 5-minute video, I think, from Ed, just talking about the marketing strategies. So feel free to have a look at that. Your own personal websites. I'll move on to that. We recently did a lot of calls with artists and try to understand how they work their practice with online platforms, with their websites, with social media, and all that kind of stuff. So just know that as one of the common behaviors of the buyers, when they find an artwork that they like, and once they know that, right, I want something from this person, or I want this particular artwork, that's when their research, specifically based on that artist, starts. So after that, they will start looking at your website, looking at your socials, trying to find out, just Google your name, Google the name of that artwork, try to see what exhibitions you've been on, what events you've been in, all that kind of data. So there are two things happen. A, because they want to know, because they want to talk about it. B, they want to know that it's legit. It's not just an image on the artwork that they're trying to buy. So it's important to have all that information on your website if you have it. The other thing is, if you have your website, if you have a checkout function, good, that's fine. Although if they are coming from a particular online platform to your website, try and identify that, or if they're getting in touch with you, send it back to that particular online platform, given that the prices are the same, just to reward that particular agent because they worked for a customer to come through the B, if you don't have a checkout function, link from your website to where people can actually buy art. It's really important. We tell this to a lot of people, that it might sound, a lot of people do prefer to get in touch with artists and email them or call them or whatever. But trust us that a lot of people, if they can't buy online directly at that point of time without being in touch with someone, without having to talk to someone, they will not buy. Like, they will buy from someone where they can buy without talking to someone, because that's not everyone's preferred method. So give everyone all the options and let them choose, so you don't have to make that decision for them. The other point after this is just the just sold page. This is another thing that we've noticed, and it's quite interesting actually, is people seem to try and find out what the trend is, and they try to go towards it, or a step ahead of it, or something like that. We get this question from artists quite a lot as well. They ask us what's selling. So what the trend is, so they can sort of tweak their practice a little bit as well, which is the same thing the buyers want as well. Is they carefully see what's in trend, what we've sold, what other people have sold, what a particular artist has sold, and it affects their buying behavior. The other thing, especially the Art Just Sold page does, and not a lot of art platforms have that page, by the way, but what that page does is it does two things. It adds a bit of trust onto the collectors who've never used online platforms before to purchase something expensive. It tells them that you've sold something, you can be trusted, your product is, they can have some sort of confidence, and be obviously that your art is trending, or at least someone's buying it. It pushes them towards it. There's a fun little fact about Just Sold page in there. We just getting some numbers crunched at the moment to give you some ratios. So roughly, obviously don't quote me on this because it's not finalized yet. Yeah, it's different for everyone, and it's not finalized. We're just having those numbers analyzed at this moment. But once an artwork or an artist is on the Just Sold page, it's almost, and again, don't quote me on this just yet, it's almost about 5 times as likely for you to sell another base than if you're not. So it just sort of like when you're on the Just Sold page, people see your work, they go to your profile, they like more, they take more, like it sort of keeps on going. But obviously once you're on that page, that means that you have to really push in all the traffic wherever you can get, and make sure that they know that you've sold this piece, through your social media, through your profile, everywhere. It just, you have to sort of start broadcasting it. And we've also included that a tiny little image at the bottom. It's we call it hotspots. So basically, we record when people are on a particular artwork or sort of a listing, what they're clicking on, what they're seeing, where what they're interacting with. And this is just a generic artwork listing page, and you can see where people are clicking and what they're trying to see. So it gives us a lot of insight on what we should emphasize on when someone's on that list, and I want to share this with you so you can see that as well. So a lot of these clicks will be from the artists, obviously, so you can see that some shares at the bottom that people have clicked in, but you'll see that most of the clicks are either on more artwork images, like the detailed images, or trying to look at the artist's portfolio. So they've either clicked on see portfolio, or they've clicked on the name of the artwork. So it just proves that they, if they land on one artwork, they want to see all of your artworks before they actually make their decision. So it's really important for you to have a good, strong portfolio. And yeah, that's it. These are the points from this article. We go through the comments, but we have a few other points that Sarah wanted to talk about. So we'll go through them, and then we'll go through the questions and the comments. And we have a couple of events to announce as well, so we'll do that.
What I wanted to say was that I noticed that there was a chat on the Facebook group about featured artists and how they're selected. I just want to point out that, and I know this, it's just stats, and it's like, just shows you kind of what we're looking at when we're deciding on featured artists, and we do it as a team. So I think there might be some confusion around the curator picks who is featured, and it's not just me or just one person, it's the whole team. And so when we say curator, we mean the whole team at Bluethumb. So that's Freddie, Megan, Alex, me, Shiraz, Ed, Melissa sometimes even. We all put out feedback. We all, contribute to who becomes featured. Basically, per day at the moment, we're having about 250 artworks uploaded roughly per each day. I know that's a lot, but that's, I know, and this might have something to do with the new art feed as well, is like that's a lot of artwork and it's a lot of content. And when we're looking at new uploads or looking at artists, and keep in mind at the moment we have between 5,000 and 6,000 active artists on the site, we could be on your profile or looking at an artwork for a fleeting moment, and in that moment, if you sort of tick all the boxes in our guidelines, you could be put up to be featured. So that's kind of how it works. There is a little bit more discussion behind it, but it's definitely all the points that Shiraz just made about your profile, pictures, descriptions, dimensions, profile photo, cover photo, all of that goes into it. Also, if you've made a sale as well, so because we don't get to see your work in person, and we don't get to see it in person. So if you've made a sale and that went successfully and there was no returns or there was no complication, like that is also a branch where we might consider as well. So all of it feeds into it, especially the way you communicate us. That's really important that you're friendly and everything, because that can help too. Like we love to support everyone, but everything contributes to being featured. So just keep that in mind. The other thing I wanted to mention, so there's 2 events coming up. Is that all that yeah. There's 2 events coming up, and I'm very excited to say the Mission to Seafarers, the opening night, I've got an invitation here. The opening night is this Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. and our whole team in the Melbourne office is going. So we would love to see you there. I know a lot of you were selected as finalists, which is awesome. And so if you are making an appearance, we will be there. We'll probably have a wine and a beer with you guys and a good yarn. So you're more than welcome to come. We love meeting you guys. We love chatting and everything. So yeah, feel free to come down. It's at the Mission to Seafarers Victoria, which is close. I was there the other day. It's in the Docklands near the DFO, sort of. But Google it, and I'll put notes somewhere for you to do that. The other exciting news is that we got a lot of feedback from the last pop-up, and one of the things that was discussed was that there was no Bluethumb representative there. So we're sending over 2 representatives from Bluethumb to be there for the opening night, and it's me and Shiraz, and we're very excited, aren't we, Shiraz?
Yes.
So we'll be there with Kat, Belinda, and Ben. That's on the 11th of October, so that's a Thursday night as well, from 6 till 8 p.m. in Surrey Hills. Again, I'll put up information about that. And exciting news, come along, have a yarn with us, maybe a sneaky bevy. And there's also a $500 door prize for a voucher on Bluethumb to purchase art. So double win, like triple win, definitely come by, would love to see you. I think now we're going to go through the comments. We'll just...
Yeah. Cool. I'll just scroll through and address a few of them. There are a couple in regards to pricing. One from Jan, I think.
A lot of comments.
Yeah. I'm glad that you guys are having a chat. That's nice. This live thing is cool. With regards to okay, so the question from Jan about the same pricing and how to get around with other platforms. So the main platforms that that work similar to us or our competitors, most of them advertise either free shipping or shipping included. And the reason why that model works and is popular is because it sort of removes any wiggle room for the buyers to say, oh, I'll take care of shipping, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And how do we go about removing shipping, or sort of like adjusting prices here and there, or like asking for discounts based on that, or I'll pick up and all that kind of stuff. So it can be good sometimes, but it also in the long run it makes it quite messy, especially for online platforms like us, because we deal with so many different clients from so many different places. So that's why we usually stick with either saying it's free shipping or shipping included. If you're having your own websites, I would suggest to approach with a similar model, to say shipping included or shipping free. Other platforms which don't have this model, depends on if you know how much shipping they're going to add, then consider that and go along with that. If not, then keep it uniform with your best guess, because if they are sort of like dynamically calculating it somehow, then there's no way for you to know where the buyer is from, obviously. But I don't think they will do that, because it's near impossible to do that accurately, because artists are from different places and the buyers are too. So I hope that's answered your question, Jan. Ideally, the goal is to not have someone decide the venue or the source of purchase just based on price. That's the main goal. So there are different ways of getting there for your website or the online art platform. There are a couple of questions about new art and landing into new art, and this is something that we address pretty much on all our webinars and pretty much daily, as to how to land on it. And I don't know who was asking, just give me a sec. Miss CMID, I'm not sure, I don't know your name, sorry. If you join the Facebook group, maybe one of our artists will be kind enough to post a link in the comments here. If you join the Facebook group and ask that question there, either we'll answer it or one of the artists can answer that. It's much easier when you have it in writing. Another question was from Satra about protecting your artwork images. Sandra, we addressed this question recently as well. So what we've done, we used to have watermarks, and then based on our analytics, we realized that artworks with actual watermarks that can't be removed from the buyer's end when they're trying to view it, it reduces the chances of them buying it. So we removed the watermark, the actual physical watermark on the artwork image itself, but we've blocked anyone from downloading and keeping your images as well. So if you go onto the website and right click and try to save an artwork image, you can't. The other thing that when we talk about copyrights, is having a watermark is definitely a copyright thing. That's fine. I've seen a lot of artists write, copyrights belong to such and such. But you also need to know that in Australia, in terms of content copyrights, if you've created it and you physically have, it's as simple as if you had an idea and you wrote it down somewhere where you can reference that I wrote it down on this particular date, you have a copyright. So that's yours. Same thing with the artwork. When you upload something on there, you check a box saying I have the copyright to this. Legally, that's your copyright. Now, there obviously are always questions of what if someone tries to copy my work and download the image and print. There are a couple of ways of addressing that. We've addressed it by just simply blocking them from downloading your images. But also, a lot of different opinions come into this section, and it's very difficult to just agree with one or disagree with one. With images and with copying, especially when it comes to design and art and digital world, it's quite easy now. If I spend 20 minutes on Google trying to find out how to save something or sort of like copy something or steal something or download something, whatever, if I spend 20 minutes, I can do that for anything. So there are different ways of approaching this conversation. Is legally you have the right, but obviously if someone really wants to put an effort to save an image or get an image from Bluethumb, from any other online platform, from your personal website, from your social media, all these things can sort of like go towards it. It just really depends on how you want to look at it. In terms of security and giving you the copyright of your artworks that you upload, you have that. As soon as you upload that on Bluethumb, they can't download your images, and you legally have the copyrights of that particular listing and all the information that's with it. That was a long way of answering that question, Sandra, but it does come up quite often. Yeah, but anyway.
I saw Firefly. I saw your question, what motivates people to buy? And I thought I'd just touch on this. Like, it's a couple things. One is that they want to see that you're successful and that you're an active artist, so creating quite frequently. Two is people tend to see something that they like and really connect with it. So it could be like an emotional reason for purchasing art, which is quite common too. And three is collectible. So I guess that refers back to the first point where it's if you're creating, they're wanting to buy something of value now that might potentially increase. So that's three reasons why people would buy or could buy. Lynette, I also saw your question about 3D artwork. It's not something we've really got into just yet. There are a few artists that we've talked to that do have a couple 3D things, but they cleared that with us beforehand to be able to upload. Our biggest problem around 3D work is shipping and insurance. It's just something we're not built for yet. I'm hoping one day in the future that is something that we'll be able to venture into, but for the moment we're just not at a capacity to do it. We just can't figure out the logistics and the cost behind it just yet. But I'm hoping we'll be able to one day. That would be great. I think with Shelley, I think I just saw it. Do you find customers buy framed work or frame themselves? We see with those statistics around that, definitely framed works or ready to hang works tend to sell more frequently than not. So when we do have someone inquire about framing the piece, they normally ask us to ask the artist, which we will do, get a quote from the artist, tell them, and then we'll add that price onto the artwork total, or we'll have it shipped to them or frame a local near them. And we know some great guys that nationwide that do a great job, and we normally either give them their details or we send it straight to them and they do it for us, or however the client wants to go about it, we do it. That's how we do it.
Yeah. With framing as well, there's no short way of saying this works, this doesn't. People do prefer framed artworks, and some people do prefer unframed so that they can do it themselves. It's always good to give them the option. So if you do have framed artworks, if you do have unframed artworks, it's good to find out what the cost of framing would be. Don't mention the cost directly in the listing, but in the listing artwork description do mention that if they do want the artwork framed, just either contact us or they can just get in touch with us and we can give them more options. So at least they know that if they do want this framed, they can get it framed easily. What we do with framing a lot of times is we work with framers locally where the buyers are. So we do one of two things. Is first, either we deliver the artwork to the client so that they can see the artwork, make sure that they don't want to return it, all that kind of stuff. And then we just have the framers meet the buyers directly so they can sort out the frame samples, pricing and everything on there, and we don't have to do anything about it. B is if they are sure enough that they want to keep the artwork, we have it framed, we have it delivered directly to the framer, have it framed, delivered to the buyers straight away. So it's easy for them, easy for us, easy for you as well, and less cost and risk in transit with frames. Anyway, so the point is, it's good to give them options. So in your artwork listings, you can say that they can get it framed, unframed, just get it to Untagged, and we can sort it out.
A heap of comments just came through. I think because we're just nearly at 50 minutes, I know that's the first 7 we were trying to figure out what we were doing. We might just need to leave the comments shortly. Like we'll probably
It's
answer
alright.
a few more.
It's alright. We can answer.
Okay.
Any other coming.
We just got to
So
scroll.
yeah, we just gonna have to scroll and read as
Yeah.
they're coming in. This side of the guys, yeah, they don't have to spend a lot of time. Donna, that's a good point. Painting the sides do help with not framing the artworks. But again, you know, different people have different options. But with sides, what we usually just say to buyers is, it doesn't matter if it is painted or not painted. Whatever they prefer, we can just ask the artist to do once the order has gone through. So, you know, they have the option to do that. There's no set ways there. Cool. Oh god, these.
I know they're going crazy. I'm just scrolling and it keeps going back down, and it's.
Peter, there will be new categories. Melissa, who's in these chats as well, and the curations team has been working on these. These will be available. We just really wanted to do a lot of research before we pushed more categories in. They will be available soon.
I just saw Haley's comment come through. Yes, we are able to assist with framing. If you wanted to direct your potential customers from your art description to inquire with Bluethumb, more than welcome to do that. However you want to do it, we're happy.
Jan was asking about the demographics of buyers. It's a pretty wide range, and also information that it's probably not ideal to give it over a live webinar.
Yeah.
We really have to
Be
tread
careful.
what we say. But generally speaking, when someone's buying a piece of art, especially an expensive piece of art, they, you know, it's usually expendable income. So, you know.
That should give you a couple hints. Or Bluethumb employees.
Who do we know in Brisbane for framing? We have worked with a couple of framers. If you do need to get in touch, just maybe email us and we'll put you in touch directly with them, and they're quite handy people.
Found a good one. Oh, Graham, I think I've sold paintings on Bluethumb in the past to friends and colleagues. Does that impact my standing and reputation at Bluethumb? Would it limit being considered for promotions and feature?
No, not at all, Graham. That's really good that you have sold paintings outside. If they're your friends and colleagues, then that's really good, because we keep encouraging people, artists, to put these artworks up as well, even if you've sold them to your friends and colleagues, so you can put them on your sold list so people see that you're selling. I'm sure you're already doing that, but this in no way affects your reputation and standing, or the promotions and features and all that. What we were talking about before is it affects us financially, and sort of affects our spirits a little bit as well. When we realize that we've done the hard yard and someone has found a particular artwork or an artist through us, but then we are pushed aside and the sale goes through off platform. If you're selling, to your anywhere directly to any other customer, that's really good. That you should always promote that. Right, where was I? More questions about categories.
Yeah.
Sarah's already answered Haley's question about framing. Yes, we do assist with framing quite a lot. So just get in touch. Depends on it is really case by case basis.
I think that one.
Who pays for framing when Bluethumb frames it? Buyers do. That's why we need to talk to them before we give it a go ahead. Sometimes there have been cases where either this is something that I should have mentioned before. Not a lot of times, but significant amount of times it has happened that some artworks some artwork listings have been marked as ready to hang or framed or something like that, but they actually aren't. It was a mistake, and the buyers receive it, and then they're like, oh, this was advertised as ready to hang, but it isn't, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times we just end up framing it for them, and we absorb the cost, and most of the times artists don't even know. 2 reasons why that happens is because it costs us more in terms of time and costs to either send it back to you, have it framed, ask the artist to pay and all that kind of stuff. But it does affect us quite a lot. So we sometimes do pay for framing. We wouldn't want to, because it sort of is not included in the commission. But most of the times when people inquire about an artwork and say that they want to frame it, and when we have the framers meet them directly, or when we have it framed for them, they pay for it. In no way, at no point of time, it will affect you as an artist and your payout.
Melinda?
Just putting up
Yeah.
works that have been sold elsewhere, listing them as sold to show more of my work. Melinda, yes, that's exactly what I was saying. You can upload artworks and mark them as sold. It in no way means that we are saying that we've sold that on Bluethumb. The only artworks that appear on Just Sold are the artworks that are sold on Bluethumb. So it's like I said before, treat your Bluethumb profile as your portfolio. So if you have sold artworks elsewhere and you want to list them in your portfolio, do upload them and mark them as sold. You can, in the description, if you like to write something, but when you're uploading, you usually get an option to say where you've sold it, so you can mention it there as well.
Richard, how long should artworks be left on Bluethumb before refreshing portfolio, and how do we withdraw paintings for that purpose? So you can edit from the back end in your dashboard. From your dashboard. You can go to My Artworks, and then there'll be an edit hyperlink on the right hand side, and you can actually change the availability and mark it as sold or request for deletion. When you request for deletion, that removes everything. So we only say this if you absolutely need to, because it can break links with Google and cause a bit of issues around that. You know more about that. You should probably talk about that. No, but it just, so only delete works if you really need to, or if you have sold them off platform, mark it as sold.
Okay.
I think that was it.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Donna's suggestion about having the framing option in there, we've thought about it, giving the option, but it does raise a lot of questions. And again, the wiggle room that I was talking about in terms of pricing and all that, so it's much better to just talk to people over the phone, and then we prefer to just put them in touch directly with the framers, so they can sort out their pricing with the framers, and we are not involved at all, because people usually wouldn't want to pay for framing before they've seen the samples, the quality, they know what they're getting kind of stuff, so they wouldn't want to pay while they're purchasing the artwork. So usually 99% of the times they talk to us, find out what the options are, etc., and then they go ahead and buy it.
Sue, I just saw your question come through, and I'm pretty sure we chatted about that on the phone. So with courier companies and insurance and tracking, if it's a local delivery, Sue, I think that would be fine. But if it goes beyond the state, it gets a bit complicated. So what we kind of say to our buyers or collectors, is that we tell them that they can track their artwork, and that they can also, that it's also insured for them, so that they know their money's safe. Even if anything, when the worst happens, they're covered. And if we don't do that, it's actually written in part of our policy that's what happens. So anyone that decides to ship themselves or whatever, it has to be insured. And if it's not, any damage to the artwork falls onto you guys. It's also not great for us as a company if if the worst should happen, or if someone's like, where's my artwork, I can't find, like, you haven't given me tracking details, it makes us look bad. And that's why we prefer to have the control and logistics of everything, because we can monitor it, and we have people that monitor it 5 days a week. So that's kind of my answer.
Yeah. I would just add on that it's okay to send your pieces yourself, especially if they're large. But like Sarah said, it's quite important to make sure that things are insured and tracked. The other thing is, like what Sarah was saying, is it's good for us, at least from our point of view, to do it because we have the information straight away and we can share it with the buyer saying this is the tracking number. Or sometimes it gets missed when artists take care of it. What we're doing with the next step that we're doing is we know that pack and send is quite popular and they're quite dependable as well. So we're gonna try and make business accounts with these guys. The reason why we haven't done that so far is because you can't get one central account with Bag and Send because they're franchisees, so you have to individually get accounts with each local outlet. Anyway, so we can do that as well. So when you can just simply drop it off to Bag and Send, we take care of the rest of it. But remember that Bag and Send's costs might be more than the allocated one, so that needs to be taken care of as well. But yeah, it's just, if you prefer to do it, that's absolutely fine. Just be mindful that all the cases with insurance and sort of paperwork and everything that's related sort of comes down to you, because then you're the sender and we are not. I just would want, I'll just address Afshan's question about a particular theme or subject that gets sold most on Bluethumb. This is what we were talking about before as a trend or a pattern. I don't think we can narrow it down to one pattern. If you go through the Just Sold page, you'll see what sells more. Just keep an eye on Just Sold, and so not just on us, but also other platforms, and you get an idea of what's really selling. It's so much better on YouTube. I like that.
The what's better?
Everything. I mean, like,
yeah.
Because we have more questions and the spreads.
I can't believe how many questions we've got. It's awesome. It's great. Like, the reach is more as well, so we're talking to more of you. It's pretty cool. Hey, Lynette, just send an email to help@Bluethumb in regards to your 3D works, and I'll jump on it and have a chat to you about it.
Lisa, about YouTube videos, I think that's a good idea. You have an option to do that. It just needs to be relevant for that particular artwork. So if you're putting a YouTube link for a particular artwork, it needs to be of that, or at least of that series. If it's irrelevant, then it might just sort of, push them off a little bit. Yes, I'm sure we have an Instagram account. You can follow us there.
I think that one.
N McGee, I'm sorry, I think it's too late for me to speak up a little bit. But I will keep it in mind. We'll do a bit more testing the next time. YouTube is not as user friendly as we thought it would be. I think we covered it. We can stick around for a couple more minutes. So if we have missed anyone's questions, please do let us know.
Bye, Richard.
Thanks for joining us, Richard.
What?
Ooh, that's right. It's a public forum. It's fine. Oh, hey, Nell. Sorry.
I'm looking now.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
No, it's not okay.
This is what happens when you watch a video online without having to sign in. So it's okay. Cool. Thanks for the support.
Cool.
Alright, we'll just hang on for a couple more minutes. Yeah, definitely. Now we are aiming to do this, or we have been doing this every couple of weeks, but we've been doing this on the Facebook group so far, but not all of you have a Facebook account, so we've now moved on to YouTube, and you don't have to sign in, so you can just click. We'll be a bit more organized, so I'm hoping we have not missed more people there. And this has run quite a bit longer than we usually do. We usually try to keep it around under 30 minutes. But this is good. We had a lot to cover. And we had a lot, interesting information. We'll try to keep it more interesting and relevant for you guys as well. feel free to send us questions before. What we'll do is I can send you guys an email, or some other way I can send you guys a form where you can send us questions for the next webinar. So it will be good if you're prepared beforehand.
Yeah.
Just so you know we can answer you straight away.
Cool.
Firefly is asking a question.
I think it was about gifts. What we tend to see with gifts, yeah, people do buy paintings and artworks for gifts. Sometimes it can be our gift vouchers, but we have seen people buy, like even last week, some guy bought a $2,000 painting for his girlfriend in Singapore. So yeah, it happens, definitely.
There's another one. Probably not.
Oh my god. Alright, I reckon we should go.
It's alright. These things happen.
Alright. I think we should go.
It's alright. So this video stays here. So you guys, people who missed out, can watch it later on as well. So if you do have questions, just keep posting on here, and maybe not in the chat, but also in the actual comments under the video, so we can answer them straight away as well later on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
No, well, we didn't miss you. I think Freddie was answering you as well. I saw that you don't like back and send. Like I said, these guys have different franchises everywhere. So, you know, it's not just one company managing them, it's different people managing every different store. So everyone's experience will be different, and that's why it has to be one-on-one.
Alright, that's all that we have time for today. We'll catch you guys again in 2 weeks' time, and we will hopefully have that situation sorted so we don't have international visitors that are nice people. Right. Goodbye.
See you guys. Bye.
I don't even know how to...